Can't believe my sweater torn. It's so embarrassing. I'm not gonna go to the gym wearing this. I don't know how it tore. Anyways, I've been feeling so emotional, you guys. I've been missing my son tremendously. I haven't seen him in a year. I haven't seen my family. Loneliness doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is spending time with my family or seeing my family or missing my kids and not being with my children. That's what bothers me. But I really like living alone. I really like being alone. It took me a while to get used to this because at first it was so hard for me. Being alone was an issue, but now it isn't. I'm thinking about my child so much. I'm thinking about Nick so much, my son. I wish I could be there with him. I wish, oh my God, he's in the Navy for 7 years. That's a long time. And if he wants to come and live with me, because he texts me that he's probably going to live with me, that's 7 years from now. Well, 6 years from now, because he's been in the Navy for a year. And that's a long time from now. And not being with him for 6 more years, it's going to kill me. I was laying in my bed. I had the TV turned off. I had the lights turned off. I was trying to go to sleep. And then I started thinking about this, and it makes me feel very emotional right now. Like, sorry. I usually, I don't like to cry in front of the camera. It just came out. I've been through so much. I'm so glad my son didn't see me in a crisis, and he hasn't seen me in a crisis. I'm not going to rebel anymore. I'm going to continue taking my medications every single day. I don't want to hit a crisis anymore. I'm 40 years old. It's time for me to stop rebelling. But taking medicine every single day, I don't like that. And I'm going to take medicine every single day for the rest of my life. And that bothers me. I have to rely on medications to be normal, to be mentally stable. And I blame my son's father for that. It's because of him I'm mentally sick. For him taking my boy away. He ruined my marriage. He ruined my career. And he ruined my mental health. That was such a horrible mental trauma that I went through. Also, a mental trauma with my daughter. She was illegally adopted. I never gave up my rights. I never got notified that I had to be in court. Nothing. They did it behind my back. And that's illegal. They could go to prison for that. They took her away from me. They snatched her away from me when she was only 2 weeks old for no particular reason. I had called the cops because my baby girl's father wanted to lock himself up with my daughter in a room, and that scared me, and I called the cops. The cops were very racist towards me. Instead of questioning him, they were questioning me. And as soon as I knew it, my daughter gets taken away for no particular reason. I never saw her anymore. She got kidnapped from me, and then she got illegally adopted. That was another horrible mental trauma that I went through. Then with my toxic engagement relationship was another mental trauma. I was engaged 5 years ago. It was very toxic, very dramatic, very negative. His sister attacked me. His sister's friends attacked me. They mentally traumatized me. They will not leave me alone until, I don't know, I left him and they were still attacking me. Finally, they left me alone. And I know they're still watching me. I'm sorry I cried. I've just been feeling very emotional right now. I think I'm about to get my period. I suffer from PMDD. My hormones get out of whack. I start feeling very emotional before my period. I just don't like feeling this way. I stopped the birth control. I'm not in birth control anymore. So I'm getting my period every month now. And I know I'm very close to getting my period because I'm feeling very emotional. I'm hormonal. And I didn't feel like crying, but it just came out. Later in another video, I'm going to talk about my life and why I got mentally sick. I talked to you a little bit why I got mentally sick. Or I should just talk about it now. My life. My childhood wasn't very pretty. I didn't live in a normal, happy environment when I was a child. I lived in a very domestic, violent home. My mom got beaten up a lot by my stepfather. Um, it was very hard. I didn't have a good childhood. I'm not gonna talk about my mom because I don't. She died 4 years ago, and I don't want to talk about my mom. But I did not have a good childhood. At 16 years old, I started working at Subway. I was in high school at the time. So I was working and going to school. That was very hard for me. Um, then I moved to Alabama at 16, and I met my son's father at Subway. I started working at Subway in Alabama. And then my son's father and me started dating. And I was going to high school. But the high school that I was going to was very troubled, very uh, violent high school. It was a very bad environment. And I wanted to get out of it. And the only way to get out of it is if I got pregnant. So I asked my son's father if we could have a baby. At first he said no, and then I was like, well, then I'm going to break up with you. And then he decided to say yes. I didn't force him to have a baby with me, but I did ask him, and he said yes. That's not forcing anything. So I got pregnant with my son. He was planned. We got married, me and my son's father, when I was still pregnant. I had my child when I was 18. I got pregnant at 17 and had my son when I was 18, so I was a teen mom. My son's father was really into school full time. He will ignore me and his son. He wasn't really there for us. So I decided to get a divorce when my son was like maybe 6 months old. And we got a divorce. I got most of the custody. He saw him every weekend, and I was there for him Monday through Friday. I was with my son Monday through Friday. And he went to see his father every weekend. Then I started working again and I started going to school. I was doing amazing. I made my anatomy classes. I made hundreds in every test, hundreds in every assignment. My psychology class, I made hundreds in every test, hundreds in every assignment. I did very well. And I got accepted to nursing school. I met my ex fiance, Patrick Borman, my second ex husband, um, through MySpace. He sent me a message through MySpace if we could hang out. I was a little hesitant at first, and then I said yes, we could hang out. We hung out at this bar, we started talking. Um, Months later, we were already dating. 6 months into when we were dating, he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. So I was engaged to him. He was in the army. He was already leaving the army. And so he got deployed, and it was his last 6 months. So when he came back, he had to work at his old job in Tennessee. And move there. So I talked to my son's father that I was going to take my son to Tennessee to go live over there. Well, we found a place in Mississippi because I was going to go to school in Mississippi, to nursing school, to finish nursing school. Well, my ex fiance, my second ex husband, Patrick Borman, told me to stop working. I could stop working if I will finish and stay in school, me and my son. So I stopped working. And through the custody battle, my son's father fought me for custody. He didn't want me to move him to another state. And I stopped working, so that was a big issue. So our lawyer told us to get married immediately, so we got married through court. We were already planning a wedding, you guys. I was already looking at wedding dresses. I was already looking at venues, churches, where we could get married in a church. I was already planning everything. And we got married through court because of the custody battle. And unfortunately, my son's father got most of the custody of my son because the judge said that I couldn't move him to another state because my son's father didn't approve of it and because I wasn't working and other issues. He didn't get taken away from me because I was a bad mom. It's because I was moving to another state. That's why. So, um, we got married. Our marriage was fine. I was a housewife. I saw my son every other weekend. I would go pick him up in Alabama, drive 2 hours to go pick him up, drive 2 hours back to come home because I was living in Mississippi. And every other weekend, I drove a lot to pick up my son and to drop off my son. It was a lot of stress. Plus, I was doing all the housewife stuff. I was cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was cleaning our home every day, organizing our home every day, doing laundry, doing all the housework, doing everything. I was taking care of my second ex husband like he was a 4-year-old. And I will take care of my son when he will come over. I already had his room decorated, my son's room decorated. And when he wasn't there, it was empty. I would just see it and it will get me more stressed out, more sad. So I decided to drink. I was not planning to drink at all because I'm not a drinker. But I decided to drink one day and it became a habit. So I became an alcoholic during our marriage. And I would drink I would drink behind my second ex-husband's back. And he wouldn't notice that I was drunk or anything. Because I would be asleep before he noticed, before he came home from work. Because he works second shift, 3 to 11. So that was my chance to drink all day. I was an alcoholic. I became an alcoholic. Because I didn't see my son that much and I missed him so much. When I stopped drinking, that's when I hit a crisis. My first crisis, I was 24 years old and I was married. I didn't know what was going on with me. I was scared. I didn't sleep for 7 nights. I didn't sleep at all. I thought I was going to die. I didn't know what was going on with me. Nobody knew what was going on with me. My mom had to come to Brownsville to come see me, to come be with me. And they put me in a hospital for 2 weeks. And I finally got mentally stable. When I got out of the hospital, I wasn't feeling myself anymore. I didn't want to be with my second ex-husband anymore. So I told my second ex-husband if we could get separated for a while. And he would buy me some plane tickets to go see my mom in Brownsville and be with her for a little while to think things through. So he bought the tickets. I went to Brownsville. And I had to come back to Mississippi because my second ex-husband brother was getting married and he wanted me to be there. But I hit a crisis, another crisis, when I was in Brownsville with my mom. And my mom didn't feel it was right for me to go back to Mississippi sick. So she put me in the hospital. I talked to my second ex-husband and he told me, okay, we're separated. And I'm like, I already told you we were separated. What do you mean? I got out of the hospital. I was doing good. And I asked my second ex husband for a divorce. I told him I couldn't be a housewife anymore. I couldn't be a wife anymore. I miss my son so much, and I just couldn't do it. I still loved him though. And that's how my second marriage ended. And after the divorce, we got back together, but I still wasn't feeling okay. I started drinking heavily again. The divorce really impacted me very in a very negative way. I became an alcoholic for years. I would rebel so much. I got diagnosed back at the day with schizoaffective disorder. I didn't want to take my medications. I thought the doctors were wrong. So I kept hitting crisis after crisis. I would be in the hospital a lot, in and out, for years. Then I met, then my baby girl's father saw me on Facebook because we dated back at the time when I was 15 years old. He was 30. So we dated back then. Um, and he found me on Facebook when I was 29 years old through my cousin. And he told me, move over here, you'll go to nursing school. Um, everything will be okay. So I moved over there and I went to school, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was still an alcoholic. Um, I will black out. I think my baby girl's father raped me when I blacked out because I will black out in the living room and I will wake up in the bedroom the next day. At 29 years old, I committed suicide. I ended up in ICU. I almost lost my life. And thankfully, I didn't die. Thankfully, I was still alive. I just didn't want to live anymore because I miss my son so much. A couple of months passed by. I'm like, I feel like I'm pregnant. Like, I haven't gotten my period, but I feel like I'm pregnant. So I took a pregnancy test and I came out positive. And I was so angry. I wanted to kill him. I didn't want to have a baby. I wanted to get an abortion. I didn't want to have his baby and make me disgusting. Like, ew, no. I thought I was 4 weeks pregnant. So when I went to the gynecologist and I got a sonogram, I don't remember my last period. So they told me I was 11 weeks along. I'm like, how can that be? It doesn't make any sense. Because we did have sex. I voluntarily had sex with him. But it was like 3 weeks ago. How can I be pregnant 11 weeks? That doesn't make any sense. He probably raped me to get me pregnant when I blacked out or something. So I stopped smoking. I stopped drinking. I wasn't taking anything during my pregnancy, only what my gynecologist gave me. That's it. So my pregnancy was fine. I had my daughter. I couldn't sleep. My daughter had colic. She was crying all the time. My baby girl's father only watched her 1 hour a day, and that wasn't enough. I took her to the doctor. They told me she just had colic, that to just try and make her feel good, carry her, rock her, feed her. I mean, all the basic things that you should do when a baby has colic. And I said it was okay. I didn't have any sleep. I didn't sleep for nights. So I decided to get a 6 pack of beer to relax me and my baby girl's father to watch our daughter while I drank. Well, he was very angry. He told me he was going to lock himself in the room with my daughter, and that made me very scared. I panicked. So I called the police, and the police were very racist towards me, which I already told you guys. Instead of them questioning him, they were questioning me. My baby girl's grandfather came and snatched her away from me. I never saw her anymore. He basically kidnapped her away from me. So I hit a crisis. My mom had to pick me up from Bronxville to take me to Bronxville to get me stable, and I got mentally stable. Months later, or a year later, an adoption agency told me that they wanted to adopt my daughter. And I specifically told them no. No, I don't want you to adopt my daughter. A few months later, I found out about my baby girl's father. He sent me a message telling me that my baby girl had been adopted. I'm like, how can that be? I specifically said no. Nobody told me about a court date. So that was another mental trauma, you guys. Then my engagement 5 years ago, I was engaged. It was very toxic engagement. He was very toxic. I don't know why I stayed for 2 years. I don't think I really loved him. I think it was just because I was lonely. But I put up with so much. His sister will attack me. His sister's friends will attack me. Anthony's friends will attack me. They mentally traumatized me. They weren't involved in our relationship. And when they shouldn't be involved. When I would get in a fight with my ex-fiance, he will get on Facebook and talk all this shit about me. That's my life. It's been a roller coaster. It's been ups and downs. I've been happy. I've been sad. I've been angry. Now I'm in school. I'm doing very well in school. I'm not going to rebel. I'm going to keep on taking my medications. I graduated already from the pharmacy program. I went to school for so many years, but I just didn't want to pay attention. And my GPA dropped very low until I decided to just wake up. I graduated already from college in 2018. Now I'm back in school studying psychology. I'm an A honor roll student. I'm on the dean's list. And I'm doing excellent in school. And I'm thinking of going back to nursing school. Now I'm not going to rebel. I'm going to continue taking my medications every day. I had a crisis 9 months ago, almost a year ago, because my son was going to the Navy. My apartment got flooded. I lost a lot of things. So that's why I rebelled. But I'm not going to rebel anymore. And I'm going to keep on taking my meds. So life is a lot better for me. But that's basically my life. Yeah. It was a lot of mental trauma. And that's why I got mentally sick with manic bipolar. My son's father ruined my marriage, my career, and my mental health. So that's it. That's my life. Now my life, I want it to be better. And I know it's going to be better. Life can be beautiful. Now I have set high boundaries for myself. I don't accept people just to be with people.